I got a feeling we're gonna talk about this several times a week. December the 9th is fast approaching. We know that the House is taking action. The ball is slowly but surely going into the court of the Senate. We're gonna keep you posted on this because this is serious business. So a railroad strike is looming and workers' demands need to be met. Let's look at this headline. Biden is breaking his sick leave promise to crush rail workers. And this headline is coming from The Lever. In 2020, Biden called the lack of decent paid sick leave a national disgrace. Now that's what he said in 2020 while he was on the campaign trail. But now he's siding with rail worker barons to crush rail workers seeking those benefits. And it's not just the president of the United States of America who is doing this. It is also the Congress who is also complicit as well, unless they shut this thing down. As a labor dispute between rail workers and railroad companies barrels towards a nationwide rail strike, President Joe Biden is standing with railroad barons to force a deal on workers that not only falls far short of their demands, but also goes against Biden's own promise to grant reasonable paid sick leave to all Americans. Lest we forget, and thank you, the Lever, for putting this down. Lest we forget, paid sick leave was in Build Back Better. I just want to walk you back down memory lane because we are not imagining this. I want you to bold it. I want you to underline it. I want you to put it in a message in a bottle. Paid sick leave was in Build Back Better. I am going to repeat that towards the end of the segment, but I want you to know that the president of the United States of America is going back on his word. The move is the latest and possibly starkest example of the chasm between Biden's pro-worker rhetoric during his campaign and presidency and the numerous pro-corporate actions he has taken in the White House. So sure enough, sometimes politicians say one thing on the campaign trail and they do a whole nother thing when they get into office. So now, as part of his 2020 presidential campaign, President Joe Biden, or then Mr. Biden, pledged that he would ensure all workers have at least 7 paid sick days. Now let's remember that Biden said in March of 2020 during a campaign speech, this is what he said. It's a national disgrace that millions of our fellow citizens don't have a single day of paid sick leave available to them. You know what? When he said that, he was right. What he is doing right now is wrong. Ben, jump in here on this.
Yeah, I mean, really, like what Joe Biden's doing right here is worse than doing nothing. Joe Biden is going out of his way to stop workers from going on strike to demand just basic, decent humanity. And like, to be entirely honest, this deal feels like a spit in the face to like all workers across the board, because the deal is 1 sick day. And that is what Joe Biden thinks is sufficient for rail workers. 1 sick day. All they're asking for is like a week of sick days. They're not asking for the moon. And Joe Biden quite literally went out and was like, oh, well, as much as I really support workers going on strike, this would be really damaging to the economy. What do you think the point of a strike is, Joe? What do you think the point? Of course, that's the point. It's because if the workers don't show up to work, if all of a sudden the whole economy falls apart, then maybe their work is valuable and they should get the money that they deserve and they should be treated as valuable people instead of just cogs in a machine to make profits. Because at the end of the day, Joe Biden doesn't want to seem like the Grinch that stole Christmas because people have a difficult time getting their presents on time because of a rail workers strike. But who's the Grinch in this situation? It's not the workers. It's definitely not the workers, okay? It is the profiteers that want to pay their workers dirt wages, that don't want to give them benefits, time off, or sick time, or anything like that. Right? They are quite literally, in a sense, robbing from their families the time of, sick time, of paid time off, of like decent, fair wages. What about their Christmas? What about the rail workers' Christmas, Joe?
What about that, Joe? And you are so right, Ben. It just really burns my behind to hear people use Christmas in this way. Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming. These workers deserve what they are asking for. They're not asking for too much. They're not reaching too high. It is a national disgrace. He was right when he said that on the campaign trail. And I wish that Joe Biden would show up to this fight. But this September, Biden reversed course, helping negotiate a deal between railroad bosses and unions that would only grant workers a single paid sick day per year, despite the unions pushing for as many as 15 sick days, a number they were ultimately willing to reduce to as few as 4. Now, to avoid a shutdown of the nation's rail network, he is asking Congress to force that deal on workers who voted to reject it. Go ahead on the lever. Lay it on out there. Now, the rail workers, as with all workers, they deserve to have paid sick leave. They deserve to have paid family and medical leave. It is the right and moral thing to do because guess what? Human beings need time off when they are sick. They are not robots. They are not cogs in the wheel. Ben, as you laid out, they are human beings who need rest. And in the United States of America, the only industrialized nation on the face of God's green earth that does not give this kind of sick time, it is immoral all day long, twice on Sundays. It is immoral as hell. They're not asking for too much. And it is inhumane what is happening to these rail workers and the fact that the Congress wants to flex its muscles against them. What makes them better, any different than Jeff Bezos? Hello, somebody. I mean, I'm trying to understand that. What makes them different? Nothing makes them different in this situation. And shame on both parties, on both of them. This is another example of how the owner-donors are in total control in the United States Congress, and obviously they control the presidency too. This is shameful. But let's bring in some other voices to this mix. Let's see what Sarah Nelson had to say about this, the great unionist herself for the airline workers. Love this response I just got when texting this statement to someone on the Hill. So she sent a text about how the rail workers, they deserve and that they stand in solidarity with the rail workers. And this is what this person says, good, thanks for sending. As an aside, all of those transpo industry complain about worker shortages. Maybe if wasn't such a mean and hostile anti-worker environment, they could attract more people. Give me a break. And I am so glad to see the airline workers, the workers that Sarah Nelson leads, are standing in solidarity with our rail workers. Let's see what my stunt double had to say, Ben, because my stunt double is always on Twitter acting up. This is what she had to say. The same neoliberals who said it was our, quote, patriotic duty to pay higher gas prices are now saying rail workers shouldn't strike because it would be bad for the economy. Number one, we see ya. Number two, a strike can be avoided if the demands of the workers are met. It really is as simple as that. This is not rocket science. This is not complicated. Give the workers what they are asking for. And guess what? Strike averted. Let's see what some other folks had to say about this. Oh, my stunt double is still going. This is what she said. Senators Cornyn and Rubio were never outflanking Dems to the left on workers' rights. They were banking on being the minority vote on it and posturing while the vote failed. Now that the vote might pass, they will oppose. They are frauds. So you got these Republicans trying to play these games, playing games with the people. Last time I checked, there are union workers, there are rail workers in every state in this country who may lean to the right or lean to the left or lean libertarian and no party at all. Maybe a little country, maybe a little rock and roll, maybe a little rap, maybe a little gospel, maybe a little folk music. It doesn't matter how they identify. These people deserve their paid sick time.